As is so often the case with questions involving apostrophes, our best strategy here is to narrow our focus, okay? We don't want to think about everything going on here at once, and especially because if we look at something like the difference between the ends of choices B and D, this is where most people have trouble with apostrophes, right? When does the apostrophe go before the S or after the S? We know there's a rule, but we get nervous about it because we kind of like half remember it. But the way we should approach apostrophes questions is not by asking where does the apostrophe go, but asking do we need an apostrophe at all, right? Because if we compare that to choice A and choice C, we can see that that word clocks might not need an apostrophe. And so those are the first decisions that we should narrow our focus to, is not where does the apostrophe go, but do we need it at all? And remember, an apostrophe is used to show possession. So are the clocks owning anything? Does anything belong to the clocks here? Well, that would be very difficult grammatically because we have a comma right after that word, and it's kind of ending the thought. There's nothing after the clocks that they could own, right? Circadian rhythms, which are controlled by the body's biological clocks, influence body temperature. So the clocks aren't owning the body temperature. So the point of that is to say that this decision between where the apostrophe goes doesn't even matter to us anymore because we just know that there's no apostrophe necessary on that word. And this is very common on the SAT, that they throw us all these apostrophes and we just throw them right back because we don't need them. So don't be intimidated into picking an apostrophe. We don't always need it. But we do have another decision to make, right? So we have to think about the word bodies because that word either gets it or doesn't. And so does the body own or possess anything? And yes, it's the biological clock of the body, right? Belonging to the body. And so in this case, we do need an apostrophe, so we need it to be this, and so choice C is going to be our answer. But I think that those decisions, whether we need an apostrophe or not, those decisions are easier than where does the apostrophe go. And so most of the time in the SAT, in fact, we won't actually have to determine things like this versus this. But just because we're talking about it, this means that there's one clock, it is singular, and this is plural clocks, right? So the word clock in choice B would actually already have an S because it's supposed to be multiple clocks, it's plural. And so we just put the apostrophe afterwards because there's already an S there. And then in D, it's just one clock, so there is no S, so we've got to add the S. And there are cases in English where this rule gets kind of fuzzy, so that's why I say we don't really want to think about it. We'd rather just decide yes apostrophe, no apostrophe, and then go from there. And just usually that's all we need.